Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, the podcast mogul Phil Better, and today I am really happy because I have someone who lives a fully nomadic lifestyle and is a successful digital entrepreneur. I have Isabel from Bell Around the World. Isabel, welcome to the show.
Hi, yeah, really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
It is a complete pleasure, and I'm really excited to learn more about your travels and all that, how you got started in the digital world. But before we jump into the fun stuff, we have to kind of introduce you to my audience. Do you mind just giving us a quick little introduction about yourself and just like an elevator pitch about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, totally. So I am a travel blogger at bellaroundtheworld.com. I also host SEO courses as well, and I am living a fully nomadic life. Right now, I just moved to Peru, and I'll be here for a month or two.
Oh my God. So lucky. So you just every couple of months just decide to get up and move into a different location, new country?
Yeah, basically, yeah. I'm originally from Singapore. I was home, like during the whole pandemic period, I was home for 8 months. And then I thought, okay, because I'm not used to being home too long. And so, like in October of 2020, I was like, okay, this is too much for me. I'm just gonna buy a one-way ticket and fly to Seattle because that's where I had a friend there who lived in an RV, and I really craved the life outdoors and uncertainty. And so I moved. Like I flew to Seattle with not much of a plan. I just wanted to really get out of my comfort zone and try to get my creativity back. And so since then, in October 2020, I've been traveling southwards. I went on to Costa Rica and then to Mexico and then to Colombia, Bolivia, and now Peru.
Wow. So much fun. Are you flying or are you driving the whole way?
No, I'm flying. So I would love to go by land, but because of the restrictions and all that, yeah, some borders were closed, and that's why it was just much easier to fly.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. Because I was reading on your website, which is you have so much resources for people who want to like take up this nomadic lifestyle that you have. And I've been watching a lot of van life videos on YouTube.
Me too.
They are so good.
I
We're gonna
know,
talk a bit afterwards because I want to know who you follow because it's a weird community of van
I
life.
know.
But I'm tempted to go across Canada and start another podcast where I interview Canadians and get like the Canadian perspective. And so like having the amount of resources you do on your website to help people start that kind of like, hey, here's a starting guide, take care and start from here. So it's a really great resource. So I love your website. Since you were agreed to be on the show, I was like, yeah, started reading your website. I'm like, I love this. I am disappointed you don't have anything on Montreal though. You have something on Quebec, so I'm okay there.
I have not been to Canada. It's been on my list for a long time, and I know I want to do a big trip, but I just haven't got the chance to do it.
Wait a few months because it's getting cold and it's not fun in winter here in
summer.
Canada. Yeah, summer's the best time. Like you come in like March, April. We start getting nice and warm, and then going down into usually about September. We can get a nice good weather. And then October it starts getting chilly, and then November is like, hello everybody, I'm awake. Anyways, so how long have you been living this nomadic life? Like you grew up in Singapore, and is nomadic life big in Singapore in the Asian communities and that?
Not at all. So yeah, I grew up. I took my studies there. I was in a management university, and it was kind of like a one-track mind where they taught us to, even when I was studying psychology, it was kind of like behavioral psychology, consumer psychology. It was all geared towards like management type of positions when you graduate. And so I never thought about this track It was I did my semester exchange in France for 6 months. I was traveling solo, and that was when like I got exposed to this whole travel blogging community and the possibilities, and also just speaking to different people from different cultures. Like I would meet an artist or a painter or a musician who's able to live their life just doing what they love. That really opened my eyes to just that I don't have to really go into the corporate world, um, which I did when I graduated, because I was like, I don't have any experience. No one's gonna hire me if I'm overseas. Yeah, I basically just one another. It's just another regular graduate, right? And so I was kind of in social media and PR for a bit, um, but I still kept on going with my travel blog, and yeah, the more I read about travel bloggers, the more hope I had. And I have always like the exchange really just shifted my perspective. And since then, I've just had in the back of my mind, I've always wanted to do something more independent related to travel. And so in 2018, I really just threw in the letter and decided to do a 6 month work and travel program in New Zealand, and that's how I really grew my blog and turned it full time.
That's amazing that you took that giant, like it is a giant risk going out on your own, like saying you have the safety of the corporate world where like I know I have a paycheck every 2 weeks or every month. I'm getting this solid money in that, and then it's going from going, no, I don't want that anymore. I'm going to go and try and make a living on my own and find that, and it's terrifying. How
Yeah, for
did
sure.
um, how did you deal with like the fear when you were going to jumping in? Like, what was your
Mhm.
mindset like going into that?
Yeah, so I first, of course, I had my foundations and my safety net as well. So I definitely had savings, and like my travel blog wasn't just going to be a hobby blog if I wanted to do it full time. So I started it in 2015. So from 2015 to 2018, I had been building my traffic, I'd been building my audience, I had been kind of networking around and trying to secure income opportunities through the blog. And so when I did take the plunge, I was like, okay, at least I have this 25,000 sessions a month benchmark that I reached. And so then I could qualify for an ad network, which would at least give me some passive income, even if I don't manage to secure much active income. And so that was kind of like the safety net, and also like the minimum threshold that I would I told myself I need to meet before, because like when you hit 25,000 sessions on your website, that's when not just advertising but also active income, people start wanting to work with you more. They're more likely to want to work with you, to yeah, to want to do brand placements on your website. And so that was the level that I felt comfortable with before plunging into it full time.
Wow. So yeah, so you just amazing that so it took you about 3 years before you were like, okay, I'm ready to kick in the door and say, thank you very much. I'm going to try this full time for at least 6 months.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I could have done it earlier, but when I had the blog, I was still a student, and then I had to work a couple of years before I thought I had the sufficient experience to really venture on my own. Um, and for me, it wasn't 6 months; it was like 3 months, because yeah, because I had this opportunity to do that working holiday, and I was like, I'm gonna do it before I turn 30. If not, this window of opportunity is gonna close. And so yeah, and so I was like, okay, at least I give myself this amount of months to make it or break it. And when that's a really important lesson for me on hindsight as well. It's like when I really thrust myself totally into the venture, into the business, into this risk, that's when your mindset shifts from like, okay, maybe even if I don't succeed, I still have this full-time job. From that mindset to, okay, I have to make this work, otherwise I'm going to be incomeless. And so when you really take it seriously, that's when it becomes successful.
I love it. No, it's great. Yeah, and it's great advice too. You have to throw yourself 100%. So like you have to grind it out. If you want to get successful as quick as possible, you need to grind it out as hard as possible. And also taking your time to build it over time as well works as well. But like you said, if you want it full time, you need to grind it out and work on it and take it seriously. Um, what are some of the, because you do SEO. So did you find SEO later while doing your blogging and it grew into a side business, or was that something you already planned on doing and already knew how to do?
No, I did not know it existed at all. Everything that stemmed, everything that happened, everything that I am today is because of the travel blog. I mean, it originally was just a place for me to document my stories, my travel adventures. And then as it went on, I started experiment with different mediums, different tools, different platforms. And that's when I found SEO to be that driving factor in getting the most traffic with the least effort. And so that's when I really went into it.
Okay. And you've been able to create an extra source of income from not just your blog, but also teaching people to do SEO for businesses and that. And I'm just curious because a lot of people talk about like the number one tip or the best practice with SEO, but for a beginner, what is something you would maybe a tip for them, like you would suggest they try? Like just this would be the best place to start your journey on the SEO wagon.
Yeah, I would say so people who want to do SEO, they're content creators. And so whenever you're trying to brainstorm an article topic, instead of just writing from the top of your mind, maybe do some keyword research first. And while there are tools that I can recommend to really narrow down the right keywords to use, you can always use Google. You can, like, for example, if you wanted to learn about um, what to do when your cat is pregnant, for example, and you wanted to write an article about it. I'm saying that because I have a cat now. I just
That's great.
adopted.
Is your
It's
cat
pregnant,
pregnant?
and I have zero experience with pregnant cats, and so I was really just as a user, as a like a Google user, I would search what do I do when a cat is pregnant. And so if you wanted to write an article about it, that's the first place you would go to search. And then there would be related searches, there would be Google suggested keywords as well. And that's where you can think about the long tail keywords, the keywords that are maybe 3 to 4 to 5 words long that you can write about, so that even if you're a new blogger and you have a relatively new blog, new domain that would be difficult to rank, your best bet would be to target those long tail keywords which are less competitive, but there is a search demand there as well.
I love it. It's great advice. Great advice for budding SEO entrepreneurs or even bloggers for that. So thank you so much for that, Isabel. Um, on your journeys, because you've been doing it for some time now and you've been able to visit multiple of countries all over the world. What would you say is maybe a favorite memory you may have of your times traveling, being this nomadic entrepreneur?
Ooh, there's so many. A favorite memory, I would say it was my trip to New Zealand. So it wasn't my first time, but it was my first time living overseas because yeah, I never had the opportunity to live overseas in one spot. And I had this job at a glacier company where they bring tourists up. They fly them on a helicopter up to the glacier to do hikes to see the glaciers. Yeah, and so it was a really small town. It was very scary because I'm used to my city life, and over there they only had one main street and a couple of restaurants and hotels and this main guiding glacier guiding company. It was super frightening for me because, like, as someone, like, I the closest big supermarket was 3 hours drive away. So you can imagine, like, I was really like contemplating really hard whether or not to take a job, but it turned out to be really, really like therapeutic and just very, very life changing, because I wake up to nature calls, as opposed to living in a high rise buildings where I'm used to traffic sounds all day, all night. And yeah, just like having nobody in your sight, no high-rise buildings blocking you, waking up to just nature calls and mountains. And you know how the landscapes are in New Zealand.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm so jealous. That must have been a life, like you said, it is a life changing experience.
Yeah, definitely opened my eyes to being like more immersive in nature, and realizing that it's okay not to inundate myself with things to do every single day, not to know what's happening next.
Living in the moment, I love it. I love it. We are coming up. No, we're not. Oh, we got time. Sorry. Um, what are some other opportunities that you've gotten from this journey of being a travel blogger of yours?
Yeah, it's definitely allowed me to meet different people of different cultures, of different lifestyles. I mean, I don't just get to meet people in the corporate world. I also get to interact with day-to-day life, like people on the streets, people who have cat cafes, who own cat cafes, things like that. It's really like the whole spectrum, and that's really opened my heart to so many more possibilities and opportunities and experiences.
I love it. I love it. You have here, like I always ask my entrepreneurs what their goal is, because it's always interesting seeing the different goals of where they are at different levels of success. And you have one saying that you want to have multiple passive incomes to make you 5 figures. What made you choose the 5 figure amount? Is there a
Yeah,
specific reason for it, or was it just
yeah, no, I just feel like it's kind of like the next step in my, because I come from really humble
beginnings?
goals in the beginning. Like at first I was just wanting to travel the world. At first I was just wanting to have a job that allows me to travel more flexibly. And then I had this travel blog which allows me to really travel full time and do adventures that I never thought I would, getting to like work with companies, like even tour companies and hotels and airlines as well. So that's been really a big jump from just wanting to travel flexibly in my spare time. And so now that I have my SEO business as well, which is a new venture for me because I'm just used to writing articles behind the scenes in my travel blog. Now it's just more like it's more front facing. It's more serving a different kind of audience. So it's really been challenging. And so thinking about all these, as I travel, I suddenly want to open a cafe. I suddenly want to build nice Airbnbs to rent out. I suddenly want a cabin in the woods. I just like have so many ideas. Oh, and I also want to do van life.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just really opened up so many ideas to me, and so that's why I feel like the next stage of my life would be to definitely have more of these different multiple streams of income, so that I can even pursue even more crazy ideas.
I love that. Get more money so I can do more crazy stuff. Oh, I love that. I love that. Um, Now, I always ask my entrepreneurs their favorite book or a book they suggest for budding entrepreneurs, and you came up with a classic. I think it's the is the Millennials Bible now. I think because I've talked to so many people, at least the Digital Entrepreneurs Bible. I'm talking about the 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Now, how did you find that, or how did that end up falling into your lap?
Well, I don't remember exactly what, but it's really popped up many instances, and so that's how I got to know about it, and I got to read it. And what I really love about that book is not just that Tim Ferriss opens up like not just that he shows us how he's able to do it, but he also gives actionable plans. He gives roadmaps. He actually has like charts for you to follow and emulate as well. So it's a really actionable book. If someone wants to embark on this lifestyle, it's really going to help with getting out there, starting the first step to get out there.
No, I fully agree with you. I've lent it off to friends after I finished. I'm like, you need to read this. This is
Yeah.
going to change your life. And they've been like devouring it as well. And it's like actually going around my local pub because I'm friends there, and it's passing around by all the employees. I don't think the owner is very happy with me, but that's besides the point. So we are coming up to the end. I'm going to jump off screen. I'm going to give you the last 5 minutes, Belle, to just let my audience know where they can find you, how they can follow you, how they can support you, and find out more about your amazing travels. Okay?
Yeah, for sure. So you can find me at bellaroundtheworld.com. I am active on all social media platforms, and so yeah, I'm always active online. I'm always interacting with people. I love to meet new people. Um, and if you want to learn more about SEO and how to monetize your content, I am offering this free SEO course. And you can find that at bellaroundtheworld.com/free-SEO-course.
So I'm definitely going to be taking that because I can always use more SEO knowledge.
Yeah.
So, Belle, I want to thank you again for being an amazing guest and sharing your story about being this nomadic digital entrepreneur. It's always a pleasure talking with someone who shares somewhat of the same passion. Like I want to start that. I'm fed up of being like just stuck here, and you're like the third digital nomadic entrepreneur that I've met. So, I think it's manifestation coming to life.
Yeah.
So thank you again for being on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you check out the show notes down below. All the links for Isabel's stuff and Belle Around the World will be there, and you can follow along her journey. I am, of course, Phil Better, the podcast mogul, and I thank you again for listening to the show and enjoying it. And I wish you all a good day, and remember to invest in yourself.
Hey, everybody. I want to thank you so much for watching the show and listening to the podcast. As a thank you, remember, you can always head over to my website, philbetterinc.com, and get free 15 minutes with me to talk about how you can grow your podcast, how to monetize your podcast, or even how to start your podcast. I have helped lots of people, and I want to help you do the same for your business or just for your personal brand. So again, that is philbetterinc.com. Head over there, book your free 15 minutes, and it'll be a pleasure to help you out. Have a good night, and remember to invest in yourself.